Another edition of Baseball and Beyond. Today I'm going to enjoy some lunch with an idol, my all-time favorite Cardinal offensively. John Tudor's my favorite pitcher of all time, but been trying to do this for a long time. Jack Clark is sitting next to me right here. We're going to have lunch.
Well, it's nice sitting out here at the beach looking out over the ocean, the Rocky Point here in Carmel, California. Actually, we're in Kirkwood, so same thing though. You know, food's good, company's good.
I just did one with Larry Walker. I talked about how I'm going to winter in West Palm Beach. So if there's anywhere that I'd be doing it on a beach, it'll be in West Palm Beach. So if anyone wants to set up, no one needs to hear about that. But this is great talking to you. And like I said, it's just so cool when I think about watching the Cardinals. I mean, that 85 team got me into baseball. The 87 team, I always say it, that's the team that literally made me addicted to baseball. So we'll get into some of the stuff with the Giants and stuff, but I just curious about when you came to St. Louis. You know, Whitey wanted a thumper, and that's what you did. You thumped.
Well, you sign with the team organizationally, and you kind of want to be one of those guys, the Musuals or the Mazes that kind of, obviously Mays jumped and went to the Mets, at the end of his career, but if you stay with the team, Stremski, your whole. So I was always planning on Giants were my team. It just Candlestick Park, that whole losing scenario was just tough to be part of, So when they traded for me, Whitey was supposed to be the first manager fired. And I always say that because I think that's key, because when you asked me earlier, when I came over here, well, that again started sounding like, well, they traded for me. They said, let's go win a championship. And then the first thing I hear when I get here, Whitey's going to be the first manager fired, and we're going to come in last place. It's like, well, that sounds like San Francisco. What the hell? We're going to win a championship. And that's when Whitey, only a few days into spring training, asked me to move me to first. He says, I know you've played third base in the minor leagues with the Giants. They wanted to make you. And I never knew that people knew all that had that kind of information. So when he said that, my first instinct, I enjoyed playing right field. I always had a lot of assists. And it was Vince Slyke, Tito Lander, and myself out there. And then he came and asked me, he said, well, do you want to move to first? So I don't platoon all. He said, I don't want to platoon all three of you. I was like, well, no, because I'm going to play right field. There will no be platoon. You'll be trying to find ways. Those guys will be, and I'm not knocking them. That's just confident. They should have the same attitude toward me. No, Clark's not going to play. I'm going to take his spot. That's the way it should be, competing like that. But he said, I'm going to move you to first. Well, you played third. I don't have to do that. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I didn't want to. And I went over there, and he says, if you don't like it in a couple weeks, I'll get you out of there. This is in spring training. So after a couple of weeks went by, and I was learning the bunt plays and the cut, because he had different cutoffs and relays than I'd ever seen before, which was the first baseman was the cutoff man for balls to left. And I had an outfield design, and I'd be firing it into Pena or whoever was back there. So it was kind of a free-for-all that way that we really enjoyed, that you just don't see anymore. And I think all those, even if you talk to Ozzy even today or any of those guys, we were all real proud of that.
Just the beginning of Jack Clark's sit-down lunch with me, where we literally talked for about 2 hours, so kind of have to cut this thing down a little bit, but we were eating Masses. We were enjoying some Masses food right there as we sat and talked. Masses Restaurants, 5 locations. It's the title sponsor of Baseball and Beyond. You can find those locations at stlmasses.com. Big portions, delicious food, pasta, pizza, seafood, steaks. Whatever your heart desires, they have it at Masses Restaurants. 5 locations, stlmasses.com. No baloney in the cannelloni. They are the title sponsor of Baseball and Beyond. I'll come back here in a little bit, talk about them a little bit more. But here Jack remembers his first at bat as a Cardinal, and it was at Shea, and he'll tell the whole story. But the night before was even more of a story than his first at bat as a Cardinal. This is pretty interesting.
I moved to first base. We're playing the hated Mets. It's in New York. It's opening day. They got a good team now. They got Hernandez and Carter and Straubinger and Gooden and Darling and Fernandez. I mean, Howard Johnson. They had a really good team, Kevin McReynolds was the center fielder and right fielder in San Diego, and now he's playing left. And that's pretty good when you can move a guy like that, So I had that incident at the hotel. I had a message on my phone from some young lady wanting to come over and all that. I mean, it was still pretty early, and I left a message back, that hey, I'd like to say hello. I didn't know who she was or whatever. But then I get a knock on my door an hour later from two big guys, one smaller guy and one big, huge guy, both wearing this cold, long overcoats, pounding on my door. I had a door that had a corner room that had like a little hallway where the front door was in New York. And then you went around the corner and then it opened to the bedroom and the bathroom was back there. So I looked to the people, and it's New York. I saw a couple guys, open the door, you're effing my girlfriend and all that. It's like, F you, get out of here, blah, blah, blah. So 15, 20 minutes later, they came back with a security on it, big old dude, for the hotel. Mr. Clark, can you open the door so we can straighten this out? So because he was there, I opened it. As soon as I opened it, this guy jumps through the door at me. And so we're kind of tussling just for a second, but he's a lot smaller than me. There's like a little credenza table there with a lamp and everything. So I kind of picked him up and slammed him on that and cussed him out. And the other big guy that was there just stood outside. And he got into the whole thing about my girlfriend. I said, hey man, it's a mix up. I don't know your girlfriend. I had a message on my phone when I came to my room from that number from this person. So you got an issue you got with her. Oh man, blah, 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 blah. So he keeps going. He keeps trying to put, so having to be my attorney, Tom Rich, was in town at the time for opening day. I had some meetings with the Players Association or whatever. And so I call him up, tell him what happened. And this is, it's almost 11 o'clock. Opening days, the next day's a day game. The bus is leaving at 9 o'clock or whatever to go to Flushing from Manhattan. And so I call him up. Anyhow, we all go downstairs, almost into like the bowels of the hotel, like where the equipment room is. But there's a table there, I guess, for people to eat or whatever, their lunch. So we're kind of sitting around there, and this guy's making threats. I'm going to the newspaper, and he's now he wants money, Yeah. He wants money. And so Tom and him are getting it, and Tom, my agent, he leaps across the table at the guy. He's got the guy around the throat, And so we back that, and he tells me, he says, Jack, just go to your room, I'll take care of it. Well, I just couldn't sleep. I tried to go to sleep maybe around 5 o'clock in the morning, because this was going on now about 2 or 3. I tried to go to sleep, couldn't, and so I basically tossed her, but I think it really benefited me when I got to the ballpark and got on the bus. Nobody knew what happened. I was so tired, I was very relaxed, but I was excited, but I like to compete. So as soon as I was feeling pretty good. I took my batting practice, everything. I was ready to go. I wasn't feeling tired, but I was just feeling relaxed. It was cool out, crisp air, packed stadium. We're playing the Mets, who are the pond scum and all that. So our lineup goes through. I'm batting fourth. Our lineup goes 1, 2, 3, out. Gooden's pitching, So they don't score in the box, so I'm leading off the next inning. And Gooden throws me a fastball. I don't think it wasn't first pitch. Throws me a fastball. I think it was with 2 strikes, and I took him deep. It was a line drive to left center, one of the best, hardest balls I ever hit. And it couldn't come at a better time, because for me, it was kind of like I'm running around the bases going, if everybody only knew what it took for me to get to this point, from going from right field to first to opening day with what happened last night in New York, of all places, where news would be a big deal, and to take him deep. But what it did, it set the tone for our team a little bit with Keith Hernandez and all the guys they had over there, that this team with their defense, whether you got Doc Gooden, stacked lineup, guys that hit lots of home runs, and that future Hall of Famers and everything else, you're going to have to deal with this Whitey, Herzog, Whitey Ball team.
So at this point, the food comes. I have a Cajun pasta, and Jack had a Reuben sandwich, and it was delicious. I had some fries as well. And we were at Massa's. We were enjoying Massa's restaurant, my favorite restaurant, my title sponsor. I can't thank them enough. STLMasses.com. Also, if you're looking to sponsor a podcast and you want so many people to come to your place that said, listen, I heard about you on Baseball and Beyond. I'm a fan of that podcast. Those are some great interviews. That Brad is one heck of an interviewer. I want to have some toasted raviolis, and I want to tell you thank you for sponsoring Baseball and Beyond. Please give me a shout. You can find me on Twitter, Brad Straubinger. That's my name, Straubinger. I'm on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find me in St. Louis. My blog page is bradsportspage.blogspot.com, bradsportspage.blogspot.com. I put a lot of new material or ancillary stuff to this podcast, so you can find it there. So Jack and I started eating, and then we started talking about that home run at Dodger Stadium, and I said, Jack, I got to get you to talk about this on the podcast. So that's where we leave off right here. So we were just talking about your home run at Dodger Stadium, and I always talk about this with anybody else, so the fact that we're going to talk about it is great. The first thing is obviously that he pitches to you. We've talked about that a lot. The second thing is how you make this right turn. Dodger Stadium still has all this foul territory. You're literally in the Cardinal dugout before you hit first base. You've told me a little bit about that. But then the third thing about the home run, well, Pedro Guerrero dropping his glove, awesome. A perfect visual for all of this stuff.
Throwing his glove.
Throwing, and then, but you get to home plate at the top of the ninth of Game 6, not Game 7, and your whole team is at home plate. This isn't a walk-off home run. I think that's my favorite part of this whole thing is your team said, we've won. Tell me a little bit about you were saying that was the weirdest part to you, because I know that you said, I was telling Tommy Lasorda, hey, guess what, I just did it again to you guys.
Even though they're scoring, if I hit the ball as hard as I can to Guerrero or their center field, they're scoring. No doubt about it. At least tied. So I don't have to hit a home run. And I process that, because you have to. You process it real quick. It's not needed. That's like down the road, third or fourth thing. If you get it, great. I'm always going to take my swings. I'm not going to get cheated. Get my 3 good swings in, So I'm all ready, but the base is open. And I'm thinking to myself, quickly, and I mean quickly, like in about 100th of a second, is it going to walk me? Is it going to pitch around me? Are they going to put their arm out and try to act like they're putting me on and then try to get a quick strike on me? Blah, 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 blah. Screw it. It's him against me. It's power against power. It's Dodgers. It's Dodger blue. It's time for them to bleed. And they always talk about we bleed Dodger blue, and they've always beat me and won. And now it's time for me to get something back. But I don't have to hit a home run. I had complete processed everything in the short period of time, got in there. They had struck me out the time before. Again, climbing the ladder. But climbing the ladder means the first one is going to be the best one of that ladder. And then the next one's a little higher, and the next one's a little higher. But remember I said earlier in our first, we were talking, I was having a really good series. It didn't matter who threw it, who was throwing it, how it was spinning it, whether it was screwballs, sinkers, Fernando, big backdoor curveballs, 3 and 2 screwball, it just didn't matter. I was going to get to, they already got me on that before. 3 fastballs up, chased them, struck me out a couple innings before. Same situation. I know when he went out there, he told them, we're Dodger moving. Just give him to chase one, then climb the ladder on it, He just didn't climb it enough, and I got on top of it, and I missed it just a little bit to hit it perfect for a home run, to get the height on it and everything else. Which then it was time to celebrate, because when I hit it, I knew it was gone. I knew it was fair. It wasn't down the line. I didn't see Guerrero throw his glove down. I saw that later. Because when you have a player on another team do that, you really stuck a dagger in them then. I wish I would have known that, to be honest with you, because I would have felt better even about the bottom of the ninth then, because the game wasn't over. So as soon as I hit it, I looked into the dugout because I knew it was gone. Because I had kind of got a reputation around calling pitchers bitches and stuff, punks and everything else. I mean, and they knew they could hear it. I wanted them to hear it. That
Native Pure was your bitch that day.
Well, not really. Really, when I said it, my teammates kind of took that on. Like they'd see me before the game, what's up, bitch? You know? It didn't matter whether it's Ken Dale or Cox. Hey, bitches, John Tudor, what's up, bitches? You know, something like that. And that just was kind of, so as soon as I hit it, I looked at them and I said, take that, bitches, you know? And so I took my time. I remember going around the base and I said, you know what, man? All that Dodger blue, we bleed Dodger blue, trying to show me up again, you know, pitching to me like I'm some Joe Bag of Donuts, no good, nothing, you know, from the old Giant days that you ruled. But now I'm a Cardinal, and this is a different team, and this is a team with history and winning, and they won in '82. It's not like they came from New York and it's been forever and they haven't even got to the playoffs. They won the World Series, and we got an owner in Gussie Busch and fans and everything else. And I wanted to do it for Whitey. I mean, you've heard the stories where, you know, I used to go fishing during the season and get down there and meet him at 3 o'clock in the morning and, you know, fish till 9:30, 10, and then I'd go back and take a nap, get ready for the game, and I'd get back and take a nap and come for the game, take batting practice, and still took infield. You know, it was just part of it, you know. And I didn't like Scioscia. I hated Scioscia. I mean, I tried to kill him earlier. You know, hit him in the throat, knocked him out.
You did kill him for about 5 minutes. You looked at.
Well, I wanted to because he hurt me too. Because he did a dirty little hip check one time on a play at home, where there was no play. But right when I got to home, I stepped on the plate and then he hip checked me, and my spike was on the plate, and my body spun around, but my foot stayed there. Twisted my knee, blew my knee out, had to have surgery and have it drained. So I never forgot that. And he had a dirty reputation, and everybody was trying to get him for other dirty things. The way he would throw his mask as you run in, instead of throwing it away, he'd throw it into you and hit some guys. He would always block the play because he was a big pile of doo-doo, you know. So he would try to block the play with all his gear and everything, and he could get hurt that way too, you know. So he just was dirty. I mean, Chili Davis got him later. A bunch of guys tried to get him, but I think I got him first, and I wanted him bad. So every time I was on second, I just prayed for somebody to get a hit, and I was going to run through the Hal Lanier over there at third base, and I was bringing it, man. You know, I was doing Joe Morgan, shortest distance, 2 points. I was running straight to the bag. I was getting there as fast as my fat ass could get me there. He held on. He was suspended. He was up in the air with that ball, and he was hung out to dry. And I could have slid, but there was no way I was going to slide. And I hit in the midair with my elbow right in his throat as hard as I could, you know. And he was, I remember Tommy Hurt coming over, like waving to the doctor, like come out, like he's turning purple, he's swallowing his tongue. And they took him to the hospital. And I actually talked to an interview when I was doing a radio show here in State when the Angels came to play. He was gracious enough to come do the interview, as long as I didn't talk about the collision at home plate, you know, which was fine. So anyhow, he's back there. I didn't like him. And I never liked those teams from before that they had. Garvey and those guys were gone. You know, now it was Marshall and, you know, Steve Sachs, you know, those guys. It was just a different group. Shelby was in center field. Renicky.
I think of the third baseman too. Who was there? Wasn't around to say at that time.
No.
It was, I think Bill Madlock was there, so he was a big dude.
He could have been there. Yeah, it was a good deal. He was an ex-teammate from San Francisco, also. You know, so anyhow, I took that turn. I think I ran out to right field almost. I felt like I did. I wanted to. And then I came back, touched second. When I hit touch second, I didn't quite go to third. I kind of touched second and kind of went out to shortstop a little bit because I'm getting closer to their dugout. And I wanted all of those Dodger players and Lasorda just to like go, did I make the right decision? I mean, I really wanted to rub it in like I got you. And I really didn't hit home with me, like you said, till I got to third. I hit third. Hit Hal Lanier's hand, and I kind of made a big turn there, still taking my time. It's definitely the slowest trot I ever had. But I never really wanted to show up pitchers, but I really wanted to show up the Dodgers right then for a lot of reasons. And when I came around and then I saw all the players at home plate, I was like, this is only the top of the ninth. The game's not over. But hey, since you're here, and I actually reached over because we had a bunch of little guys, and I actually reached over everybody, and Danny Cox was kind of reaching over everybody with both hands, and I reached over and hit him first because all the other guys were little. Vince was out there on one leg jumping around and everything else. And we're going to the World Series, and you're not. In your ballpark, when you had the lead, and you just took it. It was a good game because that game was going back and forth. And so it was a lot of with the history in the team. And I always remember, I love Jack Buck's call, and I love the call also by Vince Scully.
Clark a chance to redeem himself after striking out in the seventh. The Dodger right-hander is set, and here's his pitch to Jack Clark. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's a winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
That call, courtesy Camo X Radio. Oh my goodness, that call gives me chills. I remember where I was. I was, 1985. I would have been 9 years old. I was with my father. We were getting records. We were at Baptist Church Records because, as my dad was wont to do, he figured they had lost that game and we were going to have to watch Game 7. So he said, screw these guys. Let's go see, let's get some records. He was a wedding DJ. So we were at Baptist Church Records, and we watched it on a little TV there. And that was exciting. It seemed like to me when I was a kid, Jack Clark hit a home run every day. When you're a kid and a guy hits 22 home runs, it feels like he hits one every day. If you look at his 1987 stats, 1987, which we didn't get a chance to talk about, I did want to mention that Jack and I talked for 2 hours, so I had to take some stuff out, and hopefully we'll have another conversation and maybe get into 87 with him and some other stuff. But I think by the All-Star break, he had 36 home runs and 87 RBIs, or 31 home runs and 87 RBIs. It's one of the most overlooked first halves in Cardinal history, in my opinion, because he kind of got injured at the end there. But always loved spending time with Jack Clark, and always loved talking about Massa's, my favorite restaurant, my title sponsor. Once again, Massa's Restaurants. We really appreciate them being the title sponsor. 5 locations, massasstl.com. You can find those locations and the menus and everything else about Massa's. And once again, if you're looking to get some pub here on Baseball and Beyond and help get your business some more clicks, some more visitors, some more people buying your product, just give me a shout on Twitter. Brad Straubinger's my name. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can check out my blog page, bradsportspage.blogspot.com. And I would love to have more sponsors. It's fun doing this. I hope everyone enjoys these interviews. I took a little summer hiatus there, but we're back. We're doing more interviews. Big guests still to come throughout the rest of the summer and into the winter. Appreciate you listening. This has been another edition of Baseball Beyond, and we'll talk to you soon.